We need to talk about Canelo and the David Benavidez comments he's made as of recent. I couldn't find any direct quotes on the situation, but to sum it up, Canelo Alvarez is he's still not fond of Benavidez. He said he thinks he's Superman. A lot of fans are in uproar because it's like, go handle him then, go put him in his place. I want to give my thoughts on the whole situation with Benavidez. Let's start off at the beginning of the timeline where we have Benavidez. What happens? He loses his title twice, right? If Benavidez isn't messing with his nose and making weight, he does retain his WBC title. These aren't interim, these are actual titles. And he can fight Canelo for potential undisputed, right? But unfortunately, he loses. He drops that title twice. Does that excuse Canelo ducking him? No, but it does not help his case in trying to make a mega fight happen. You move a couple years down the line where we have Canelo now as the undisputed champion. Why isn't the Benavidez fight happening? It's because a couple things, and we're gonna try to touch on them in a great amount of time right here. Benavidez gave up all his leverage. Your leverage was, I can stop you from gaining all 4 belts, right? You don't have that anymore. You gave that up. Like I said, that doesn't excuse the ducking, but that's just a really bad decision as a boxer. You know, as a manager, that whole Benavidez camp team, y'all guys have to be losing sleep because Benavidez couldn't cut down an extra couple pounds to keep his nose clean. So he gave up most of his leverage when he dropped those 2 WBC titles. That could have halted Canelo's undisputed run, right? So now you're in this position where you bring nothing to the table but the cash, right? And Benavidez is a great fighter. Benavidez was on the pound for pound for a couple days until Taraji bumped him off, but he's a great fighter. But in the grand scheme of it, Canelo's fought great fighters. And we're still demanding it. We're still asking him to fight even more great fighters, and that's what the sport is. I'm not mad at that. But it gets to a point where you're at such a stature, when you stand at the pinnacle of modern day boxing, it gets to a point, I want to do something that's going to push my all-time legacy, or I want to make a boatload of money. So if I can't do that, either one of those two things, I'm going to fight contenders for easy money. So I could fight Munguia, I could fight Berlanga, I could bring home 50, 60, maybe even $70 million. But I don't think Canelo's scared to get up for these big fights, but it has to be worth it. I can't do this for the fans anymore. I did it for the fans for 20 years now. And look what I've gotten. I'm a duck. PED cheat. I'm this, I'm that. You know, you'll never be the greatest this or that. It's always going to be a demand. So I can't do this for the fans anymore. That's what Canelo's thinking, in my opinion. If I am going to go on and get up for these mega fights, it gotta be for me. Benavidez does nothing for me. It does everything for y'all, right? And I'm not excusing the duck. I'm not trying to excuse him weaving and bobbing and tiptoeing around Benavidez. I'm not trying to excuse that. But he said it. I need 200 million. And it sounds absurd. It sounds really absurd. But it's me. I'm Canelo. I bring everything here. You gave Usyk 120. You gave Fury 120. These are 2 big juggernauts in the sport, where both guys have a title and they're both clashing for undisputed. 2 pound for pound guys at that point. With Canelo and Benavidez don't got no titles. Benavidez ain't pound for pound. This is me. This fight is only big because of me. You could give this guy 125 with a legit B-side. You could give me 200 million without a legit B-side. And I feel him on that. So that's what I'm saying when I have to do something for me. If I want to get up, or if you guys want me to get up for these fights, it has to be for me. So I just don't want another title defense. I got title defenses. Y'all want to give me 100 million? I got hundreds of millions of dollars. I need something that's going to benefit me in the long run. And that's why I believe Canelo did want to fight Beterbiev. Those rumors were floating around for a bit. Canelo did want to fight Bivol. Still does now that he's undisputed. And I think if Bivol's able to hold that title until maybe next year, I think we will see a rematch. Because that fight benefits me. If I fight Bivol, not only am I going to bring a surplus of $100 million, if I win, I become undisputed at 175. You know? Beating Benavidez, say Benavidez moves to 68, Canelo beats him, what changes? What changes? And it sounds harsh, but who is David Benavidez? Who is he? He's not a 3-division champion. He's not a long-reigning pound-for-pound boxer. He's not a unified, undisputed champion. Hell, he hasn't held the right to call himself champion in years now. And I cannot emphasize enough, I am not justifying, nor am I excusing Canelo Alvarez essentially ducking David Benavidez. But I feel Canelo. It's me. It's my time. It's time for me to do what I want to do. So I'm not making this fight with a guy who brings nothing for me. Like I said, he has hundreds of millions. He has titles. Benavidez, what's special about Benavidez? How much money is that fight going to bring him? That's why he's making these outlandish demands. It seems outlandish, but very reasonable demands when you look at the way Turki Al-Sheikh has paid guys before in the past. So I don't think Canelo is afraid of Benavidez. I can confirm Canelo Alvarez isn't afraid of any man on this planet. He believes he could beat anybody on this planet if he steps in the ring with him. This is Canelo Alvarez at the end of the day. I would love to see the fight, but at the same time, it gets to a point when does Canelo get to do something for himself? Canelo wants Bivol. He wants Beterbiev. Now, I can tell you, if Benavidez becomes undisputed, if he somehow scrapes up a win against Bivol or Beterbiev, we will see Canelo Benavidez at 175. I can almost 100% guarantee you that we will see Canelo versus Benavidez at 175. Because that's something that actually may interest Canelo. There's something for him in that fight. Something he hasn't quite accomplished yet, which is a successful career at 175, and which is multiple titles at 175, let alone undisputed at 175. So that is a fight that would skyrocket him on the all-time pound-for-pound. Not because it's David Benavidez, but because it's an undisputed title fight to make him 2-time undisputed. But like I said, I cannot stress enough, I'm not justifying the duck here, guys. I would love to see Canelo fight Benavidez, but you guys gotta let me know, how do y'all feel about this whole situation? What would be a reasonable demand for Canelo to make against David, money-wise, purse-wise, and who would y'all have in that fight at 168, 168, or 175?